It's Tuesday, August 30th, and this is now on HNN.
Big Island customers are asked to conserve power to avoid possible rolling blackouts.
When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police.
President Biden demands new action on gun violence.
And we've learned John Lennon's killer, David Chapman, who has ties to Oahu, is up for parole.
It certainly concerns me since we are so close.
These stories plus a Manoa community is on edge after a neighbor fires dozens of gunshots into the walls of his home. Details coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon, everyone. We want to begin with breaking news. Russian news agencies are reporting that Mikhail Gorbachev, the last leader of the former Soviet Union, has died at the age of 91. Now, Gorbachev's office said earlier that he was undergoing treatment at the hospital, and he reportedly died after a long illness. He is credited with introducing key political and economic reforms to the USSR and helping to end the Cold War.
In other developing news, just into our newsroom, HNN has been able to exclusively confirm that David Chapman, a one-time Oahu resident who was convicted of murdering John Lennon, will be up for parole this week. Here's a little bit more about that.
I was standing there with a gun in my pocket.
This is Chapman's 12th appearance before a parole board. It's happening this week. Details are limited, but New York officials tell us that once the hearing takes place, the parole board will have 2 weeks to make a decision on whether or not to release him from custody. Back in 1980, Chapman was living on Oahu when he decided to go to New York and shoot the Beatles legend.
Former Beatle John Lennon, who was 40, was shot and killed outside his luxury apartment in New York. The alleged killer is an unemployed security guard and printer who had lived in Hawaii. News of Lennon's death touched off a wave of shock and mourning around the world.
Tried not to, praying not to, but knowing down deep it was probably going to come to that.
Chapman fired 5 shots on December 8th outside Lennon's apartment building in Upper Manhattan.
What happened before the shooting, before I pulled the trigger and after, were two different scenes in my mind. Before, everything was like dead calm, and I was ready for this to happen. I even heard a voice, my own, inside of me say, do it, do it, do it. You know, here we go. And then afterwards, it was like the film strip broke. I fell in upon myself. I like went into a state of shock. I stood there with the gun hanging limply down on my right side, and Jose the doorman came over, and he's crying, and he's grabbing my arm, and he's shaking my arm, and he shook the gun right out of my hand, which is a very brave thing to do.
Chapman was sentenced in 1981 to 20 years to life in prison after pleading guilty to second-degree murder.
David Chapman at that point was a walking shell who didn't ever learn how to let out his feelings of anger, of rage, of disappointment. David Chapman was a failure in his own mind. He wanted to become somebody important, Larry. He didn't know how to handle being a nobody. He tried to be a somebody through his years, but as he progressively got worse, and I believe I was schizophrenic at the time, no one can tell me I wasn't, although I was responsible. David Chapman struck out at something he perceived to be phony, something he was angry at, to become something he wasn't, to become somebody.
Now, we have much more about this still developing story on our HNN digital platforms, including a documentary we produced called I Just Shot John Lennon, the David Chapman story. You can watch it right now. President Joe Biden is in Pennsylvania today to talk about what his administration plans to do to prevent crime, an issue that has become a really important topic for many states nationwide ahead of November's midterm elections. New at noon, I want to play out some of what the president had to say.
When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police. Fund the police. And give them, we expect them to do everything. We expect them to protect us, to be psychologists, and to be sociologists. I mean, we expect you to do everything. You got to know people. You got to know, and you got to be able to trust the police. The police have to be able to trust the community. But we slipped away from that. We have a hell of a lot fewer cops today than we did when I wrote that initial crime bill. But now we got to get back to it.
Coming up tonight at 6 on our news on KGMB, our Lynn Kawano has a special investigation. It's about a small device that's creating a really big problem for law enforcement. Here's a preview.
A tiny piece of metal that makes any gun illegal, and law enforcement in Hawaii say they're finding more of them on our streets.
It takes a semi-automatic Glock pistol and it converts it into a fully automatic pistol,
which is illegal no matter what.
So it surprised me how out of control it became. You're intending to shoot here. All of my rounds started rising off target.
Because of the inaccuracy of the weapon, innocent people can be struck by one or more rounds.
These devices are turning up all over, and search warrants occurring all throughout our community.
Again, Lynn's report airs at 6 on KGMB. Now, in other news, an Oahu community is on edge, worried that a dangerous man with a drug addiction may be released from jail. The man's family is among those who want him to remain locked up after they say he went berserk with a gun. Jolani Martinez has more.
Ever since the incident last Thursday night, when more than a dozen gunshots rang out, the suspect's family has gone around this tight-knit Manoa community, urging neighbors to stay vigilant.
We were watching television. We heard some unusual noises, very loud banging.
That banging was a 46-year-old man firing a gun into the walls of a home on Halelani Drive, according to his family. His family also tells us he was high on meth. Police arrested and charged him with second-degree reckless endangerment, a misdemeanor. His bail was set at $2,000. His family told us and neighbors they're upset he wasn't charged with a felony, and they worry he might be released.
It certainly concerns me since we are so close. I appreciate that he's being open and honest and caring about the neighbors.
And I think it's really brave of them to do that. I mean, as a mom, I don't know how would it feel if your own child is a danger to society, a danger to you?
The man's family tells us they begged police for a mental health evaluation, but were denied. HPD wouldn't confirm that or if this case could qualify for Hawaii's new red flag law, allowing a court to remove a person's guns.
So if he was high on meth on Thursday, he may be coming down by this time and probably will need a lot of sleep.
Psychiatric nurse practitioner Wailua Brandman tells us police in the state have several options for helping mentally ill suspects. So it's unclear why the man is locked up at OCCC instead of a hospital. The state did tell us the new mental health facility in Kaneohe is completely full with 260 patients in all buildings on campus. Brandman says families who feel they aren't getting the help they need to keep trying.
I would, first of all, see if the person has a psychiatric provider who knows the patient, who knows if the patient's using medication, who has a little more power to persuade a family court judge or the police department that this man needs some additional attention that he's not getting. I think that would be my first route of action. And get a lawyer. If you can't get results on your own, hire a lawyer.
Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
New at noon, Honolulu's rail system is now in the trial running phase. Hart says trial running is the final series of testing before the system is ready to be put into operation. Right now, it's testing the first operating segment of the rail, which is from the Kualaka'i station in East Kapolei to the Halawa station by Aloha Stadium. During these tests, which can take place 24/7, officials say multiple trains will be moving along the tracks, so the public should avoid the tracks and stations at all times. HART CEO Lori Kahikina says there's no deadline to complete the tests, but she is hopeful to turn over the first segment of the rail project to the city by early next year.
New today, Big Island power customers are being asked to cut back on their usage. Dylan Encheta joins us now with those details.
Hawaii Island residents and businesses are being asked to conserve power in the evening hours to avoid the possibility of rolling blackouts. Hawaiian Electric said Hamakua Energy Partners, the island's largest independent power producer, is currently unavailable. Officials didn't say why it is down, but H&N has reached out for an explanation. HECO said it's unclear when Hamakua Energy will come back online. Hamakua Energy Partners normally supplies 60 megawatts of power. In addition to this disruption, Hawaiian Electric also said one of its plants, which normally supplies 14 megawatts, is undergoing annual maintenance. Officials said wind resources are forecast to be low. Now, Hawaiian electricity officials are voluntarily asking people to conserve power between the hours of 5 and 9 p.m., and that could help avoid those 30-minute rolling blackouts. For This Is Now, I'm Dylan Encheta.
All right, Dylan, thanks for that update. We'll keep updating that situation on your H&N digital platforms, of course. What do you say we take a live look right outside from our beautiful tower camera? I think that's looking over Sand Island. Actually, I know it is. Reef Runway over there to the right. Pretty nice day out there, but will it last? Here's Guy Hoggy with the update.
It's going to be lovely out there, but it is going to be hot. It's going to be a little bit humid. We could use more rain, right? And take a look at this. We're just not going to see much. There will be some passing showers from time to time for those windward areas in the overnight and early morning hours, but the rain is going to be light. If the rain were to be heavy, there'd be yellows, there'd be oranges. We just don't see that. Over the next 7 days, we don't see significant rainfall. We do have a lot of sunshine on tap, though. High temperatures running to about 90 degrees. And notice the wind speeds, 5 to 15 over the next 7 days, maybe even lighter on Sunday and Monday. So that's a long stretch of beautiful but humid weather.
New at noon, scientists are warning about something called zombie ice. It could really have a devastating effect on sea level rise. Let's turn things over to Ian Lee with more on that.
This sea of ice is majestic and breathtaking.
Wow, it's wow.
But it holds a destructive secret. A new study finds Greenland's rapidly melting ice sheet will raise global sea levels by nearly a foot. That's twice more than previously thought. And the culprit? Zombie ice. That's doomed ice that'll inevitably melt because it isn't getting replenished due to global warming. You don't have to be a scientist to know something's not right. Just ask the locals.
When I was young, I can remember we used to have a packed ice where we can walk on it. But now the packed ice is not so solid anymore.
Researchers estimate Greenland will lose 120 trillion tons of ice over the next 80 years. NASA says Greenland's ice sheet is the main cause of the Earth's swelling seas. Even if all the planet-cooking pollution stopped today, the climate report predicts oceans would still rise to dangerous heights, putting coastal cities at risk and threatening more catastrophic flooding around the world. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Thank you very much, Ian Lee. What do you see? We take a look at what the internet is talking about today. So, really, cyberspace is a buzz about this one, and we're talking about the DeLorean. Yeah, after 40 years, the iconic car from Back to the Future is back, and to fully express my excitement about this news, let me play this clip.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Yeah, I love that movie. Truly one of my favorite franchises after Jurassic Park, of course. So, but there's a big but here. The new DeLorean Alpha 5, this is the original one I'm showing you right now. It really doesn't look a lot like anything the 1980s version was. The new one might have you saying this.
Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
Great Scott is right, because here's what it looks like. Yes, here is the new version right there. You can see those gull wing doors are still there. That's about the only thing similar. I gotta be honest. There's not a lot of other similarities here. You know, the car's curvy new look really is a way different from that very distinct, like sharp edged look we had before, right?
Boxy.
Yeah, and let's talk about what is under the hood. I mentioned that it is electric this morning on Sunrise, and that has been reported in a number of places. Maybe even powered by, 1.21 gigawatts, perhaps? Yeah, so it's supposed to be electric, but the company is being really, really tight-lipped about this, really saying nothing about the aspects of the car's mechanical stuff and the battery, so we really don't understand the range this new car has. And another thing that's pretty secret right now, the price, but industry insiders say they expect it to go for $125,000. Yeah, the Alpha 5 is also planned to be a limited edition. 9,531 will be made by DeLorean. And, that's only one more than they made of the DMC-12, the original Back to the Future car. The company also expects production to get rolling in 2024. So, how dare they present this car, even though it's marketing in a maroon color instead of the steel metal gray that everyone knows DeLoreans are supposed to be. I know they want to change things up, but I'm not happy with it.
The nerve.
One bit, Ashley. One bit.
Sorry. It's pretty.
Okay.
Pretty price tag, too, probably. I'm sorry, John.
It's not what I was expecting.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, how about some space news? We love that. Scientists have combined images from the Hubble and James Webb telescopes to provide new details on a galaxy known as the Phantom Galaxy. So this is a composite of what both telescopes saw. The Phantom Galaxy is what's known as a grand design spiral, which means it has well-defined spiral arms. Now, those arms contain delicate filaments of gas and dust, while the center is a nuclear star cluster. The Phantom Galaxy is about 32 million light years away.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it looks like some, Stranger Things kind of.
Totally, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, entertainment news.
Yeah, so after what happened to Chris Rock at the Oscars, well, can you really blame him for turning down an offer to host again this year? If you remember, fellow actor Will Smith walked up on stage during the awards ceremony this March and slapped the comedian. Well, during a stand-up show in Phoenix this weekend, Rock says he was asked to host the Academy Awards again this year. He apparently told the crowd he turned down the gig. Now, Smith hit Rock after the comedian made a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, who shaved her head because of alopecia, an autoimmune condition that can lead to hair loss. Now, Smith was banned from Academy-related events for 10 years, and he has apologized, but no word on whether he and Rock have talked since then.
That was certainly the talk of the town.
Sure was.
Oof, I'd forgotten about that story.
Yeah, I don't blame him for turning it down.
Yeah. You'll probably be another stage rusher, like want to copycat what happened to. All right, guys, more entertainment news. One of my favorites, Madonna, she's had her share of high-profile romances, but an accordion player? It's true, yeah. That's where we're going to turn things over to David Daniel with today's Good News Now.
I was wondering if you were going to do a parody of my song, Like a Virgin.
I'm curious, is that song autobiographical?
Yes. Except for the fact that I've had a lot of sex.
The first full trailer for Weird, the Al Yankovic story, features Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna, Rainn Wilson as Dr. Demento, and Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al, in a parody of both Yankovic's real life and music biopics. The film debuts on the Roku channel November 4th.
That's a big challenge.
Tessa Thompson is set to star in the sci-fi thriller Ash, as a woman who wakes up on a far-off planet to find the rest of her space station crew has been killed. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is signed on to play the man sent to rescue her. As they investigate what happened, each must decide how much to trust the other. Grammy-winning soprano Renee Fleming is bringing opera and the City of Light to IMAX. The musical documentary Renee Fleming's Cities That Sing, Paris, puts the city's culture, art, food, and music on North America's biggest screens. An IMAX live event September 18th includes a conversation between Fleming and Kelsey Grammer, with the film also showing September 21st. Tickets are on sale now. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Whew, that was loud.
Sorry, guys. We didn't realize there'd be opera in that.
Yeah. Well, Madonna's news was cool, and that was good casting.
Yeah, that
oh
was
my
really
goodness, I love
good.
that trailer.
Yeah.
I really do love both those artists. What a part of my childhood. Weird Al. Listen to those cassette tapes on repeat until they wore out. It was like a young boy's dream. They're so funny.
Yeah.
Like, it was such kid humor. you
Yeah,
know?
she looked great. I mean,
Yeah.
that was perfect casting.
Really cool.
Yeah.
All right, we got some big news from the Ninth Island.
Yeah, so a Hawaii resident won big in Vegas. She hit the jackpot. An unnamed Hawaii woman won nearly $154,000 at Boyd Gaming's Fremont Hotel and Casino. We're told she placed a $15 bet on a slot machine and hit a row of double diamonds.
$15 bet on a slot machine.
I know.
Oh, wow.
That's like, yeah, a
That's
max
high rolling.
bet. Yeah.
All right, guys. We got to talk money some more. Big birthday. Warren Buffett, mega investor, is having one today. The billionaire investor whose fortune is worth $100 billion. I believe he's turning 92. Yes. Bill Gates gave him this birthday message today, and you can see they've had a number of funny messages back and forth from Bill Gates to Warren Buffett, especially on his birthdays. But you can see he posted this collage of pictures, and this was my favorite one that he posted. The two playing a very high-stakes game of cards. You know, if they were placing bets, they weren't penny bets.
Yeah, what were the minimums?
Yeah, they could do the $15 slot, I think. Yeah, so there's a birthday there, but we also have another very, very, very special birthday to really one of two of the biggest This Is Now fans out there. I'm talking about our grandmas, and it is my grandmother's birthday. She shares it with Warren Buffett. You can see her there today in her backyard in Southern Illinois. Happy birthday, Grandma. I wish I was there. Love you so much, and we love that you watch This Is Now every single day, and if it is not posted, I'm hearing about it. So
92 years young.
yeah.
So
Congrats.
cute.
So cute is right. All right. So the big news yesterday, of course, was the Little League team
Our
coming
world champs.
home. And I wanted to end the day just with that. Why don't we just play out some of their homecoming right now?
Here we go. Your world champions of the Little League World Series, Team Hawaii. The boys that have made all of us so proud. Really just a phenomenal run.
What a great homecoming, truly. Yes.
I can't believe like some of them are actually in school today. You know?
Whoa, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also love that we were asking them about what foods they were wanting to come back home to, because I know some of them said they hadn't had rice in some time. They'd been to a number of steakhouses, but they did not get the sides of rice.
Right. Well, even the rice on the East Coast or like on the mainland in general, it's not the same.
No.
Yeah.
No. And then the coach said he's heading to Zippy's. He said he really needed his local comfort food, had even lost weight on this trip. So, yeah. You can even watch that clip. We montaged all their what they want to eat clips on our H&N digital platforms as well. Posted
proud.
it on. Yep. Way to go, guys. And I hear there's a parade in the works.
Yep.
Rumors are. Yep. We'll hear about that a little later. All right, that's going to do it for this Tuesday edition of This Is Now. We're flying right through this week, guys. Ashley's back first at 4 on KHNL. See you then.